Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Melissa, and today we're going to be repotting this Calathea Medallion. I actually rescued this plant from Lowe's recently. It came in a glass vase and it had like rocks and some moss, and this was like sitting on top of that. I guess it's some kind of like open terrarium. I don't really know. It was very weird, but I haven't done anything with this guy. This is kind of like a mesh surrounding, and then there's like a bunch of rocks in here. I don't know, it's just very strange to me. So I'm gonna be taking this guy out and giving him a home. This is just a plastic pot that I'm reusing. I get these off Amazon. They come in a set of 3, but I like these plastic pots and I like neutral. So this is probably a 4-inch pot, I would imagine. So yes, I'm gonna be taking him out of here and potting him up. And I have my potting mix here that I just made. So yeah, let's get started and take this guy out of here. I'm super excited to see what it looks like underneath here. Okay, so first things first is we are gonna uncover this guy because I have no idea what's under here and why they did this. I don't know if you're just supposed to like pot the plant up in that vase. I have no idea, honestly. But I haven't done anything with this since I bought this. I haven't watered it or done anything to it. So this was probably over a week ago that he's been here. And I sort of did a look over at the store, and I was checking for like spider mites or any kind of pest, and I didn't really see any, but I'm definitely going to do another look over and clean these leaves off. But it actually looks like it's in dirt already. Maybe they just put like some rocks on top of it. Oh, that is interesting for sure. Here's the root ball. It's got a pretty good root system. I don't know if I want to disturb this guy. I haven't repotted a plant in a while, you guys. I'm excited about this. Sometimes I'm worried about like having a little mesh at the base because I find that a lot. It's like a little death trap for your roots and chokes them out over time, but I don't think I really see that. So I'm just gonna squeeze and loosen up the dirt a bit. I'm not going to mess with this root system that much. I don't want to make this plant angry, so yes, just a little massage of the roots. And do I like this potting mat too? I just got this. It is beautiful. If you know me, I love monsteras, and I usually use a towel and I make a mess, so I'm glad to actually have a potting mat this time. So very excited about that. Yeah, I don't see any anything mesh surrounding the roots, so that's good. Yeah, I actually had a Calathea Medallion before. I had one last winter. It was just a very small one. It maybe was like this size here. It had like 4 or 5 leaves. It was really small. I actually forget where I got it at. But yeah, it just got spider mites, and yeah, it just ended up dying last winter. I was really sad about it, but this one I was excited because it has like really big leaves. So it's a beautiful plant. I am super glad that I found this guy because I really wanted another one. I know Calathea are a bit of a picky plant, but I actually find Calathea to be a bit easier for me just because I tend to overwater a lot, and Calatheas love water, but I've learned to cut back on not watering so much. So yes, now I kind of underwater sometimes, but it's better to underwater than overwater for sure, because your plants can recover better from being underwatered. So yeah, I'm just loosening up the dirt a little bit. I don't want to mess with him too much. Looks really good. It's got some kind of like sticky stuff at the base, which had me concerned for maybe spider mites, but I don't really see anything. So, and he's got like lots of new little growth you can see too. Kind of some spikes here. So yeah. And this dirt, actually, I don't think there's really anything wrong with this dirt. Sometimes I worry about gnats when they come from Lowe's, but this honestly seems like it's pretty good. So I actually might just reuse this and maybe use like a scoop or two of mine. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Just mix it up a bit. So I have about that much soil in the bottom. And Calatheas like distilled water, so I try to use it most of the time, but sometimes I run out, like I'm out now, so I'm just gonna have to use regular tap water for him. And so that fits in there, I feel like, quite nicely. It's got quite a bit of room in there. Yeah, and I'm just gonna fill up around. That's all I'm gonna do for this guy. And I'll take you over to the sink too so that we can clean his leaves together and give him some water. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with this soil, and I don't see any gnats. And I've had this in my home for over a week. It's probably been, I don't know, it might be closer to 10 days or so since I've had this plant. It's been quarantining in my bathroom. All new plants get quarantined in my bathroom upstairs because I just don't want to risk a pest or anything getting to the rest of my house plants. I miss playing in dirt, you guys. I haven't repotted a plant in a while, so this is actually very, very nice. It is December here, so I normally don't like to repot in the winter. And there's no rule, you can kind of do what you want, but I find that my plants don't really like to be disturbed because I just like to let them rest. This is going into my third winter with houseplants. I started in 2019 during like the winter time. And so this is like going into my third winter. So I've had like 2 winters of experience with houseplants, and yeah, I find that they just prefer not to get disturbed, honestly. I'd rather wait till spring. Unless the plant like really, really needs it, then I'll repot in the winter. Do you guys have any Calatheas in your collection? Because maybe you're clicking on this video because you're curious about them or know how to take care of them. Honestly, like Calatheas are picky, but I let mine dry out a little bit, just like maybe halfway is like a good indicator, because they love water, but I don't like them to be like super soggy wet all the time. So about halfway, and medium, they prefer medium light the best because they don't want anything super bright and harsh. It can burn their leaves, and they're used to like a shaded environment anyway, like in their natural habitat. So like medium light is perfect for these guys, and they're gonna thrive best in like a warm, humid environment. So if you can run these by a humidifier, they will be happiest because they prefer a little extra humidity. So look how good he looks. Oh my goodness. Let me show you. It's so pretty. I love the white pot. It is beautiful. And plastic holds on to a little bit more water. This isn't a nursery pot, so it only has one drain hole, which is fine. And I find that them in these kind of pots, it stays wet just a little bit longer, which is good for Calathea. So I don't really use ceramic anymore. I used to pot in ceramic, but I found that it made the soil stay wet for too long. So I only have one plant in a ceramic pot right now, and that's my Maranta that I repotted before, like a few months ago. So yes, plastic or nursery pots, or I don't even really like terracotta anymore. I used to pot a lot of my plants in terracotta, but I've pretty much repotted everything out of terracotta. I just found that my plants just didn't really like terracotta that well, and they were staying a little, I don't know, I felt like it was drying them out too much. So yes, if you have a Calathea, they would prefer not to be in terracotta. All right, so I'm gonna take you guys over to the sink with me and we'll give this guy a little drink and we'll wipe his leaves and I'll show you what he looks like when he's all done. All right, so we're over at my sink. So we are going to give this guy a drink and give him a wipe down. So I'll do this with you guys. And for water, I don't have any distilled water, so I'm gonna have to just use my regular, this is just my liquid dirt water that I leave sitting out overnight so some of the chlorine can evaporate. So I'm gonna give him a little drink with this. And I like my Calatheas, normally I use Super Thrive for the first water just to reduce any transplant shock, but I'm not gonna do that for this guy. I'm just gonna give him a little water. I didn't really like mess with his roots too much, so I think he'll be fine. And I normally bottom water my Calatheas as well so that they drink up from the bottom, but since this is his first water, I'm just gonna water through the top. It kind of like disperses any like air bubbles and fills in like any gaps. So yeah, I'm gonna let that finish draining to the bottom. All right, and to wipe the leaves, I'm just gonna use this mixture. This is neem oil, peppermint soap, and water. And I like to use peppermint soap because it takes away some of that neem oil smell. I hate the smell of neem oil, so anything to take that smell away, I just cannot stand that smell. So I'm just gonna spray all the leaves kind of front and back and let that kind of soak in a bit. And usually with Calatheas, I watch for, every time I water the plant, I'll do like a quick spider mite check. So I'll do like a little look over, make sure it looks good. If I notice like any kind of like sticky residue or little white dots, that is going to be spider mites. Sometimes they're hard to tell if you haven't really seen them before. And that was my issue my first winter. And even last winter, I had a problem with spider mites in my home. So yeah, now I kind of know what I'm looking for when I see spider mites. So I can kind of treat them before it gets bad. Yeah, so I am just gonna let that soak in. And I'm just gonna give the leaves a little wipe. It just like wipes any dirt and any residue off. And then I'm just gonna let that sit on the plant and just let it absorb. I'm not going to rinse it off or anything, so. I hope you guys can see okay what I'm doing. So yes, he has been in isolation, so I think he'll be okay to put in the rest of my collection now. Because this guy has not gotten any light or humidity or anything probably in like 10 days because I've had this guy up in my bathroom. So yeah, he hasn't gotten the best care being up there, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I'm just gonna do a little spray in there too. So yeah, I think he'll be fine to put with the rest of my plants. So maybe I'll take you over to my plant shelf over here and I'll show you where I'm gonna stick him. So yeah, let's do that real quick. All right, these are some of my Maranta and Calathea. I have an Orbifolia over here, a red Maranta, and this is my beautiful big lemon lime. I've had this guy for a year. I'm doing a propagation video, so I have like a cutting just kind of propagating in water. And so I think this guy I'm just going to stick over here. He's kind of like in a corner, so he's away from my lemon lime because I don't really have spots for plants right now because I am moving in probably the next month. So yeah, this is probably going to be the best spot for him, honestly. Got some kind of crisping there, but yeah, hopefully the new leaves and stuff will look gorgeous. And I'm sure the brown tips and stuff are just from it being in that little sack thing that it was for so long. So yes, I think he's gonna hang out there and look gorgeous next to the rest of them. All right, thank you so much for watching me repot my beautiful Calathea Medallion. I have been wanting to do this for like a week, so I'm just so glad that that is done now. And yeah, thank you so much for coming back and supporting me over here. I love you all so much, and I cannot wait to grow my little YouTube family. Head on over to my Instagram if you want to see more of my plant collection. I'm pretty active over there and post every day, so you can see more of that guy. And yeah, thank you for watching, and be sure to check back soon for another plant tea video. And potting him up. Oh my God. It's always, every time I film. Why? No one wants to see your ass, Luna. Yeah, and I'm just gonna fill up around. Oh my God. Stop.